Okay, so let's start looking at examples without manipulatives. We have 82,463 compared to 82,541. So let me show you what this looks like in a place value chart. Okay, so we have our first number, 82,463. So that means I have 8 10,000s blocks, 2,000s blocks, 4 hundreds blocks, 6 tens blocks, 3 ones blocks. And I'm comparing it to 82,541. So notice that this one has more ones blocks than the other, but that does not mean anything, only if all of these were the same. And as you can tell, they're not. So I would never look at the ones place. Start from the highest place value, because this when you have thousands block and 10,000s blocks, that's a lot, and so you have to look at that. So these two are the same. These two are the same value, but then look right here. This has 4 hundreds block, this has 5 hundreds block. This has one more hundreds block than that one, therefore this is the larger number. So to write that, I would draw my symbol. This is called the less than symbol because you see the less than first. So you would say 82,463 is less than 82,541. Okay, let's look at another example. 97,651 compared to 98,651. So if I were to write this in here, whoops, I wrote them backwards, but that's okay. I wrote that one first. Okay, so in here, they both have the same amount of 10,000s, but this one has one more thousand than the other. So in that situation, this number would be greater. So as you can see, this is really easy. You just got to make sure you line up your numbers on top of each other. Make sure their place value, like if it's the ones place, then the next number, the ones place is right under the ones place, so you can correctly compare. And I mean, that's all you got to do, and you just start from here. And if they're the same, you just put a check, and you keep going. And if you see something different, then you can underline it or circle it or whatever as evidence as to why you picked that one as the greater than the other. So let's do some practice problems for you to do, and you can press pause and play to check. Alright, here are some questions I'd like you to do on notebook paper. Make sure you line them up one on top of the other, and then press pause to work them, press play when you're ready to check. One thing I do recommend is that you not try to solve it sideways, because let's say I have like an example like this, and you're like, oh, that has 1, that has 8, this one is greater. Well, this is a thousands place, that's the hundreds place, so technically this is greater than that one. So I strongly recommend you write it out on notebook paper to help you. Okay, so let's look at the first one. 85 compared to 62. So in the tens place, there's more tens than this one than that one, so therefore that one is greater. The next one is 789 and 889. So starting from the hundreds place, they both have different hundreds place, so that means this one is greater than that one. It doesn't matter what the rest of the numbers say. If you have more hundreds than the other, even if that one had more ones than the other, then the hundreds wins. 2,146 compared to 2,246. So same, but then this is different. This one is greater. So I'm going to do that. And then the last one, 94,989 compared to 94,898. So it looks like that. So same, different. This one has more than that one, so it would be this one. Alright, here are 3 more that I'd like you to do. Press pause, work the problems on notebook paper, write the correct symbol, press play when you're ready to check. Okay, let's look at these. So this one, same, and then right here it's different, so this one is larger. Over here, same, same, same. Okay, over here it's different, this one is larger. Over here, same, different. This one is larger because 4 is more than 3. So I'm going to go back and write. This one is greater, this one is greater, this one is greater. We're going to do one more set and then we're going to do ordering. Alright, here are 3 more that I'd like you to do. Be very, very careful. I put some tricky ones in there, so make sure you check over it very, very carefully. Line it up very carefully on your notebook paper. Press pause, work the problems, press play when you're ready to check. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote all the numbers, and as you can tell, this one is lacking a millions place. If you look carefully, this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. So when you line them up, you've got to start in the ones place and then go that way. That's exactly how I wrote it. I actually wrote 193, 564, 9, 193, 649. And notice, well, this is lacking a millions place, so this automatically is larger. So let's look at the next one. Same, same. This has nothing. This has 1. This is the larger number. And then look at this one. I did the same thing. I purposely made this one full of 9s, but it only has 6 digits. And this one full of 9s, but then an 8 as the first digit. And when you line it up carefully, you notice that even though this starts with 9, that 9 is in the hundred thousands place, and this 8 is in the millions place. This 8 is greater than that one, no matter what. So I know these were tricky, but, you know, I had to prove a point that you have to line up your digits very, very carefully and make sure the place value matches up. So now we're going to move on and learn how to compare numbers. That's when you get 3 or more, and you have to put them in order either from least to greatest or greatest to least. So let's look at this one. I am told to put it in order from least to greatest. So what I usually do is I put a dot, and then I put 2 dots here, and that lets me know I need to find the smaller numbers and then go to the larger numbers. That kind of helps me remember, because sometimes you might accidentally do greatest to least. So always read the question carefully if it's least to greatest or greatest to least. So what I've told my students before, like when I'm first introducing it, is we can draw pictures if it's small. So this is 643. So I have 6 of these. It's 6 of these, like this, 6 of these, which equals 600. And then 4 tens blocks, which equals 40, so 4 of these. And then 3 ones blocks, which looks like this, okay? Then this one is 531, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 of these, 645, and then 531. Okay, so comparing and ordering numbers works just like comparing numbers. You want to look at the hundreds place first. So if you notice, in the hundreds place, this has 6 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them, 5 of them. So I'm going from least to greatest. So I need to focus on these 2. And if you look at them, they both have the same, and they're lacking a hundreds block compared to these 2. So looking at these 2, these are my least right now. Then I'm going to the next part, which is these. These both have 3 tens. Okay? And then look at this. This has sorry, that should not even be there. This has a 1 ones and this has no ones. So this is the reason why this is greater than this one. And that's when you have to look at the ones place. So like I would put a 1 right here, that's the least, and then I know that's the next least. Now it's between these two. These both have 600. Go to the next place value. They have 4 tens, which is 40, and then this has 3 ones and this has 5 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one is greater than this one. So the 645 is the greatest. And the question said put it in order from least to greatest. So least would be 530. And I usually do a comma with a dot on top. That's called a semicolon. That separates numbers. Don't do commas because commas, it's going to make it look like that's a number. Like 530,531. This tells me 530, that's 531. And then 643, and then 645. Now I'm going to show you how to do this without pictures. It's the same thing. You just start from the highest place value. Alright, suppose you're asked to put these in order from least to greatest. So you would start on the left side, and notice they all have these in the 10,000s place are the same. These are all the same in the thousands place, but here we have some differences. So these have 8s, these have 9s. I'm going to focus on the 8s right now. So I have to keep going. So 7 and 2. 2 is less than 7. This is going to be first as the least. And then this is the second. Then I'm looking between these two. Same, 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 different. This one is more than this one, so this is going to be third. This one's going to be fourth. So then when I list it, I'm going to write 32,827, semicolon, 32,872, semicolon, 32,962, semicolon, 32,987. Okay, I want to talk about word problems real quick because I've been showing you them up and down, like, you know, already listed that you were able to figure it out. I want you to also know that, you know, in word problems, they're kind of spread out and it's your responsibility to list them. So it says Sarah has 4,989 erasers. James has 4,586 erasers. Anna has 4,899 erasers. List these from greatest to least. I honestly couldn't think of anything that people would have thousands of, so I just came up with erasers. So you want to list them. You might want to start from the ones place and list it like that. Because if you remember from my other videos, the previous video clips, some of them didn't even start in the thousands place or whatever, so you have to be careful. So then these are the same, and then right here it's different. And so this one is the greatest because that's 9, and then that's 8, and then that's 5. And so that's how you would do it. You don't have to go to the tens place because these are all different. Now let's say this was 8, then I'd have to go to the tens place. And then, you know, it still ends up being the same, but just wanted to share when you'd have to go on to the next place value. Let's look at one more problem and then you're going to practice. Okay, here's another crazy word problem that makes absolutely no sense. No one would have this many pencils, but I couldn't think of anything else. Andrea has this many pencils, Heather has this many pencils, Liz has that many pencils. List these from least to greatest. So, if you notice, I'm going to be writing it this way because I want to start from the ones place. And look at that. This one is lacking a 10,000s place. So that makes the process easier, but it could be hard if I were to just look at these from here and be like, oh, you know, that one has more or whatever. So now when I solve this, starting from here, this is lacking a 10,000s place and 100,000s place. So this will be my least. Then, let me kind of clean that up, make that more organized. Then, if I look at this one's lacking a 100,000s place, while this one has a 100,000s place. So that one's next. and then that one. Even though this starts with 1, it's in the hundred thousands place. That's the